At the deepest of your mind, there is this center which is actually the same as nature itself. It identifies with Mother Nature. The music which is created from that part of my mind is the music I have been working on.
Kitaro is a superstar of electronic music, not just in his native Japan, but around the globe, where he has sold over 10 million albums. He has toured extensively in Europe and the Orient, including China, but never in North America until 1987, when with 6 American musicians he toured 24 American cities with the Hitachi Culture Special. The tour was a critical step in Kitaro's career, introducing his unique music, a blend of East and West, to the American public. For Kitaro, it all started back in the mountains of central Japan, where he was born to a family of Buddhist farmers. He found a place in nature when he was very young. He created his latest release, The Light of the Spirit, and much of the music for the tour at his home in the Japanese Alps, where he isolated himself for a 4-month period, fasted, and listened to nature. Kitaro's beliefs and creativity are centered in a deep reverence for the mountains and nature.
A person who was a Shintoist told me that I was god of dragons in my former life and lived on Mount Fuji. At that moment, I thought that could be true. All I needed to do was to act according to my inner feelings. I am connected to Mount Fuji. I am one with Mount Fuji.
In honor of Mount Fuji, every year at the first full moon in August, Kitaro plays his great Wadaiko drums from sunset to sunrise.
When I really concentrate hard and get into the world of sounds, I feel my body and spirit are separate. I don't feel my body anymore. I wish I could experience this every day, but if I did, people would think I have lost it.
The Amish country of Pennsylvania seemed an unlikely place to prepare for Kitaro's tour, But since one of the best stage and sound companies for major rock tours is located near the little town of Lidditz, they rehearsed here in an abandoned factory for Kitaro's very important American tour.
My music is not only Oriental, it's not only Western. So I think my music is just for global.
When our video team first met the band in Pennsylvania, many of the players had just recently met one another, and none had known Kitaro before. All 6 American musicians were themselves seasoned and experienced world touring artists, and in the weeks ahead, they would have difficulty adjusting to the leadership of Kitaro and his different Japanese standards, which seemed demanding, baffling, and sometimes downright maddening.
Don't close your eyes. Okay. Okay, go on. I think this is just too much. Okay, go on. Getting slow is not good. Understood. Jim. So, yeah, we need more accent.
Tension mounted as the hours of rehearsal went on, and Kitaro would not allow the American players to improvise with his music.
It doesn't matter. So, just, we should try. Just,
boom, 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 we go at each other.
There's a definite language barrier.
The boss and the #1 person down through the order of protocol.
We have a bunch of very fine American musicians.
His players were very subservient to him.
What is this? This guy want me to bow to him every morning or what?
It's very aggravating. There's a cultural barrier.
I'm American. I'm not a boy.
I catch myself thinking, that I'm far superior to him musically.
Trust me, let me just play it this way.
We've all been rehearsing in various bands for a lifetime.
I really feel that I'm in the hot chair.
Sensitive, so another kind of sound. Listen.
So is it that you want less notes here, or no notes here on the violin part, or
no? Just 7 times, 8 times.
Usually when I work with bands, there's absolutely no boundaries on what I could play. Where with Kitaro, it's more in a prescription. He has very exacting ideas about really every note that you would play, or any approach that you would use for a solo. And I think American players, I think we're going to push right up to the boundaries.
Just a couple songs. Yeah.
With Kitaro, I think we're going to be able to give his music a little more of what drives people crazy, which is the momentum of music. Doesn't necessarily mean a lot of notes, and that's one of the things that Kitaro's sifting through with us, which is very true. We cannot play a lot of notes in his music. But I think that will bring a lot to the music because we will play the way we are as Americans, and I think his music can use some of that thrust.
I think just this is slow.
Okay.
Right? So just also this part.
I think it is too busy. I'll just...
Yeah, you should more try.
Kitaro often seemed most critical of Jim, the guitarist. Perhaps because Kitaro's own musical career started with the guitar in high school. It wasn't until Kitaro toured Europe with his Far East family band that he became enamored with the music of the synthesizer and switched to that instrument.
The important little sounds it's very important. So big sounds we can play anytime. Boom, boom. But small, tiny sound is cannot. Not anytime.
I've probably rehearsed this music now for 200 hours, okay? I've been playing the same music over and over for 200 hours, and I finally realized what he's after. Simplicity. And the simpler the music is, the more difficult it is to play.
In addition to rehearsing the music, there were numerous technical problems to be solved before going on the road. The American technicians and musicians were having a hard time adjusting not only to the language barrier, but to the exacting wishes of the Japanese. There were differences regarding the complex lighting for the show. The Japanese had one plan, the Americans yet another.
The spotlight for Kitaro should be strong, light, because so
Put an RDS
yeah.
on it, that's bright, isn't it? That's easy.
Yeah, we can, like I said,
Yeah, it's not so.
anything you want, anything.
We thought you wanted to change
I'll go to the
whole
store for you if you want. Yeah, really.
We thought you wanted to change the whole thing.
I didn't know what was happening, so that's what I first knew.
Like moving.
Yes, I mean the sound was moving.
The sound was also causing them problems. The intricate and complex electronic equipment was very demanding.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
His manager, Aishi Naito, was constantly there to discuss problems with Kitaro and help him through the hard days.
When he performs, it's like he's going through a dance or a sort of a ballet, some kind of a, it's beautiful to watch him perform. And I remember once he was comparing his motions to Tai Chi.
He speaks of mountains. Speaks of mountains and rivers and flowing of natural things instead of electronic things that we're all used to. And he lives by the natural part of the universe.
It's a matter of us, as very loose and relaxed American musicians, becoming more in touch with how things are in Japan. I think that we as Americans, no matter what we might think about the economic ramifications of what Japan is to America right now, I think that it's important for us to have a peripheral view of Japanese culture for what it is, for the things that it can do to enrich our own culture.
While the American musicians stayed in Pennsylvania struggling with this new music, Kitaro traveled to New York for the tour kickoff party. The press, record, and tour promoters were there in abundance. Many critics have called Kitaro's music New Age, a catch-all label most musicians hate. New Age connotes hot tubs, granola, and yuppie introspection. Some call it wallpaper music with circular, swooning romantic melodies. Those who defend it say it is not the rhythm or the melodies that are the most important, but the sound and how it is interpreted to create mental and visual images.
I think what is most important is to believe in yourself. But it is also important that people who listen to my music also believe in themselves. If they feel my music is dull and not worthwhile, they must trust their judgment. If they feel otherwise, they must also trust that judgment.
Enjoy the party, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Like a New Year's. Oh.
And so, the concert tour was launched in grand fashion. They would play in 24 cities to overflow crowds across America. New Age music is one of the hottest-selling and fastest-growing sounds of the late 1980s. Concert promoters were amazed to find it unnecessary to do much advance promotion because many people had already discovered Kitaro's music.
It's a really good blend of Eastern and Western music, and he's also taking the latest technology and using that, to synthesize a lot of really neat sounds and digitize a lot of stuff, and he still uses a lot of traditional instruments.
He's not just a faddish computer crazy. He put the heart into it and blend the computer with the blood and the scent of the soul, and that is an artistry.
If it wasn't for Kitaro's music, I probably wouldn't get through a lot of very stressful days.
And it's just the feelings. It's the spiritual side of it, I believe.
I've bought a tape and a record since I came here, and I play it all day long. I find it's fantastic music to make love by. Try it, you might like it. I'm very serious.
They played the same show in each city, and everywhere received standing ovations.
If 誰かが苦しみの最中にいるとしたら、
If one person is in the throes of anguish, I hope my music will help put things back in perspective and bring peace of mind. The wars of the world do not come from outer space. People create them. People who have war within themselves. I want to create music that eases that war within.
After each performance, they packed 150 spotlights, 6 lighting grids, gigantic speakers, 21 separate synthesizers, and a stupendous array of percussion and other instruments, which included a trio of 150-year-old Japanese taiko drums. They traveled with 2 buses for the technicians and musicians and 2 huge trucks for the equipment.
Basically, this isn't your average truck. I have a couple little extras like cruise control, colored television, Betamax, electric refrigerator, microwave oven, fold-down bunk, open-up sunroof, windows in the front. And I put the largest Detroit diesel engine that you could possibly put in at a 13-speed overdrive. So cruising down the road in the middle of the night, of course, when no one's around on the flats, it'll go approximately 100, 105 miles an hour. Of course, we don't do that.
And so they traveled into the night to their next concert. The tour covered 13,000 miles in 5 weeks. Many rock and roll tours would take 3 months to do this.
Where were you tonight, man?
Where were we tonight?
Yeah.
Tempe.
Is that where you were in that solo, man? In Tempe?
It was either Minneapolis or Kansas City, darling.
It was a grueling schedule. They often traveled until dawn and sometimes on into the next day. Kitaro was under extreme pressure at the start of the trip. New musicians, new country, the language barrier, the pressures of being the first major popular Japanese musician of his stature ever to mount such a tour in the United States.
Everything you do that is healthy and creative flows from nature. Therefore, anything and everything that puts us in touch with nature is a positive influence. I think there are things we, as adults, can do now for the children of the next generation.
It was easier traveling in Japan. They got rid of their big sleeper buses and traveled by vans and trains. Several of the musicians brought their wives.
Booking ticket.
10,000 yen, ladies and gentlemen.
What will they do to you? Oh, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, at home you get a warrant. Do you know somebody?
All the American musicians agreed that once Kitaro returned to Japan, back to his own culture, he was more relaxed, happier, and more fun-loving than ever.
I think by the end of the U.S. tour, we had all kind of reached the point where we felt comfortable with the music, we felt creative within the confines of it, and I think we're all more at ease. Now there's one part of the show which is called the improvisation, which is an improvisation which has been constantly evolving, and that one part of the show has been getting further and further. All I can say is it's sounding more and more American, like an American jazz thing, every concert.
The day before their last concert together, Kitaro treated the band members to a very special time in Kyoto, where they experienced the tea ceremony.
Kitaro's parents are both Buddhist. He was raised Buddhist, and there is a very deliberate side to his music that I find very refreshing. Not necessarily because of the music, but because of the feeling that it evokes within me, you know. It's very much like a tea ceremony. It's a way of making yourself aware of the moment. And that's what New Age music is really about. You know, it's the feeling. It's really the feeling, other than the technique, the dogmatic side to Western music, the approach, the you know, how, the phrasing, any stuff like that. It's just creating a beautiful moment in music. He does so much with so very little in terms of musical content. At least once or twice every night he'll do that, you know, create the moment, the musical moment. It makes me very premeditated about my playing, you know, lifting the bow to the string, you know, making eye contact with guitar, playing the note. It's wonderful, that feeling, and I think that's the thing I enjoy most about playing the guitar.
I think to understand Kitaro, you have to understand some of the tradition. I wish we could have come to Japan first and been exposed to, you know, all the culture that he was raised with.
Later that evening, Kitaro arranged for the most elegant and sumptuous dinner the Americans had ever had. There was great camaraderie, and by this time, even the camera had become a member of the group.
White balance. White balance. Here we go. Ready? White balance. Okay. Just walking down the street, singing through. I did it, done did it, do. Singing do.
his own culture. So as we look at him now, he seems even happier. He seems even more fun-loving, and they definitely know how to party. So as far as his intentions and what he's trying to say to us, on a personal level, he's easier to understand now.
I really do understand him a little more, and I can be a little more forgiving as to some of his, ups and downs that he had to go through. I'm sure it was a tremendous shock to his whole system to be in the United States.
I'm sad the fact that it will never happen like this again.
It's been a fascinating experience.
And there's a real peacefulness in Kitaro.
It's a tremendous learning experience.
He's a wonderful person.
I think Kitaro totally trusts
The beauty in simple things.
Given me new fuel for my own artistic fire.
There's a lot of good feeling.
I think he's added something to our lives.
The beauty of simplicity.
And there's the high energy parts too.
I never really thought we would get to that point.
It has a way of calming myself down.
Learning about the human condition.
This is it. Hands across the water.
Last concert. And Kitaro had truly won over the 6 American musicians.
So sometimes during the recording of an album, you come up here a lot?
Yeah, a lot.
During the composing?
Many times.
Yeah.
So great. I could feel this energy from the universe,
Yeah.
from the nature.